straight up and looks and fires to Cole Beasley, who will catch those balls. He will catch those balls. It could be game over.
It was going to be game. But let me tell you why he didn't. Because he made his mind up when he left the huddle. One is going to clear, and I'm throwing the two. He did not read that, because had he read that, like you said, Bryant never moves. The guy, Cole Beasley, you never let a guy cross your place on zero blitz. But you know this is Coach Belichick's MO. What did he do in the Super Bowl, Skip, against the Giants? When they got close, he brought bomb blitz, right? He brought zero blitz, and they was like, no, we need to get up out of this. It was too late. I called it. I'm going with it. But here's the thing, what you didn't show. Show that play where Josh Allen hit Stephon Diggs in his arms on the go route.
Okay, I had it. I was going to get to it.
Okay, so that's Josh Allen's fault?
No, it's the only throw he made all night.
And that'd have been enough to win the game.
Should have been.
That'd have been enough to win the game.
8:30 left in the third quarter. It's with the wind. The ball is going to do a lot of funky stuff in the air, but it comes down and it kind of fooled Diggs. You got to catch it. You just got to catch it. It suddenly dropped right into his arms. It's ball game. It's ball game. So he missed Diggs down on the goal line the other way, but he hit him here. You just have to make that catch. If you're that team at that moment against your arch nemesis that has owned you within the division, you just have to make one play. That was a one-play game that never got made by Buffalo.
But that was the thing.
One play.
And it comes to, you're right. Okay, he missed Diggs, but he had an opportunity. If they make that play there, now you put pressure. Can you run the ball? Can you still run the ball? Now, they never made Coach Belichick put the ball in Mac Jones' hands. As long as Mondre Stevens, they better be glad Damian Harris' ankle or foot started bothering him, because he might have ran for 272 yards.
Well, he escaped for 64, and that was really the game. That put them in position to win the game.
But you remember in the third quarter, he broke another one and started hobbling, and then they brought
pulled his hamstring.
Okay, and then they brought Stevenson in the game.
And quick thought on Ramondre Stevenson. You can look at my timeline. I tweeted as soon as they stole him in the draft on draft day. I tweeted in the 4th round, he will be you can look it up. He will be a star if Belichick lets him. And last night on the telecast, I know you don't listen to the sound, they were raving all night about how Ramondre Stevenson is becoming a star. Yeah. He helped make Lincoln Riley a year ago. He kept him afloat because he is 250 pounds, and he's got dancing bare feet. He can really move. He can really catch. They have not utilized that yet. They have not maximized or flaunted that yet, but he is a star in the making, but he fumbled early and got in the doghouse, and he's just now emerging. But he could be a threat down the stretch that they haven't had since LeGarrette Blount.
Right. And in conditions like this, Skip, this is the type of guy that you need, the way they power the football. But, Skip, there's not very many times that I can recall in my 20-plus years of covering Coach Belichick while I was a player, but my last, say, 15 years of covering Coach Belichick, I don't think I can recall more than a handful of times that you left a game and says, Coach Belichick should have done this offensively, or he should have done this defensively. Coach Belichick, the one thing about him you can honestly say, he's a chameleon. He doesn't do what he good. He does what you can't stop. Buffalo couldn't stop the run. Why would I ever put the ball in a quarterback's hand in those kinds of conditions if you can't stop me just turning around and hand it? It's a lot easier, Skip, for me to turn around, hand the ball to Stevenson, hand the ball off to Damian Harris, occasionally give it to Bolden, as opposed to putting up in the air and the wind is blowing it all over the place. Why would I do that? Defensively, you look at what he does, Skip. Nobody coaches it up. There is no reason. Because remember, Skip, the only reason the kid is in the game is because Douglas is out. And remember, Adrian Phillips got hurt like the second to the last play of the game. He has no business. He's the backup to a backup. And he's in the game in the biggest moment. Malcolm Butler. That just goes to show you the level of coaching, the level of detail that comes down to it, because sometimes, like you said, it comes down to a play. Now, this kid could have been in the back sleeping. He could have been dozing off. He could have been not paying attention. But for some reason, Coach Belichick coached that up. Because if he didn't, Coach Belichick is going to ream him. Because he left Cole Beasley wide open and Josh Allen could have pulled up. But maybe they knew they're going to run 1 through in order to hit 2 on the backside. Maybe they counted, the way we counted 1, 2. Some people count outside 1, inside 2. However you count it. But what they were trying to do was try to clear and just bring the slant in on the backside. And the kid, for whatever reason, he was there and knocked it down. And like you said, yes, games like this come down to one play. That's what it comes down to, Skip. It's going to come down to one play because the conditions are not going to let you allow you to throw the ball all over the field. Coach Belichick has his guys ready. They're peaking at the ideal time. This is what they normally do. When it gets colder, they get hotter. You got your hands full, AFC, dealing with this team. When you can go, Skip, and win a football game on the road, and all you do is throw it 3 times now, I don't want people to think that, oh, that's going to be their formula. That was the formula for that game. That was a special. You go to a restaurant, they say, would you like to hear about the specials, Mr. Bayless? We have a few features that's not on the menu.
Yep.
That wasn't on the menu last night. He served that up just because.
And he got away with it just because Josh Allen and company, and I'll throw in Stephon Diggs, couldn't make one play. If you told me going in that Bill Belichick would wind up with 14 points, I'd say Buffalo wins that game.
Right.
I don't care if the wind's blowing 1,000 miles an hour. Buffalo should win that game at home.
Well, I knew you. Well, I think Skip, the over-under was like 40 points. I'm like, they're not even getting to 30 points.
Well, it kept plummeting before the game as the wind kept increasing.
30 and 40 mile an hour gusts.
I told you yesterday it was going to average 25 miles an hour, but I think it was gusting to 50 miles an hour. Okay? So I got it. And it's like unpredictable gusts against field goals. So it's hard
You
to
see
do.
everybody punting the ball. They're punting the ball, and the ball going out the end zone. Every time the guy's on his own 20 and he punts the ball, he goes out the end zone.
Okay, but Sean McDermott said after the game, we're going to talk deeper about this in a few minutes, but Sean McDermott said, if you'd told me before the game that this is where we would have our starting field position, these would be our opportunities, he'd say, I would have been extremely comfortable with that. Well, he would have, because Buffalo's starting field position for the whole night was its own 40-yard line. New England's starting field position was its own 23. Well, in a game that's a one-play game, you would say, huge advantage to home team.
Right.
Well, you have to cash.
Yes.
Right away, if you get the ball all the way out at your 48-yard line for your first offensive possession, you have to go get 3. You just have to. You got the win.
You need 2 first downs and you're in field goal range.
If you can just get 3 there, it's going to tilt the playing field back in your favor. And then on the second position, they get it all the way down the New England 40, and Breida, who's new to them and not one of their guys, he's not one of their core players.
Right.
They had a couple of decent gains, and then Breida fumbles. Well, you can't fumble. And again, the turnovers were 1-to-1, so each team sort of handed the other team a gift.
Because that's how both teams scored their touchdowns on those turnovers.
They did. So in the end, I look at my stat sheet, and New England was 0 of 1 in the red zone. Well, Buffalo was 1 of 4 in the red zone. Well, you're going to lose. You're just, I'm sorry. In the end, that's end of story.
Right.
So in the end, Josh Allen is 15 of 30 for 145 yards, QBR of 20. It's just, he's better than that, you would think. He was drafted to be better than that. And I believe Buffalo will wake up this morning, they get another shot, they get another crack back in New England in two weeks. Okay, but they have to just shake their head and say, somebody had to make a play, and it has to start with our quarterback. And then it goes to our star wide receiver. Somebody's just got to make one play. And again, we're also going to talk about how the 2 safeties, Poyer and Micah Hyde, got mad at a reporter's question after the game. Well, they got mad. Were you embarrassed by how you got run on? Well, they're embarrassed that they lost the game, but to their point, they sat there and looked at each other like, we just allowed 14 points. How it wasn't like it was 40 to 6. It wasn't like you got run out of your stadium. You did not get run out of your stadium.
You didn't?
No.
Now, I remember a Super Bowl when Coach Belichick defense gave up 17 points, and you blamed the defense. Now, all of a sudden, you're blaming offense. Oh, how soon we forget?
Which Super Bowl you're speaking of?
The Super Bowl they lost to the Giants.
Oh, yeah.
Coach Belichick's defense held them to 17 points.
Yeah, but when was that? It's when you play defense or don't play defense. Yes. Because Tom Brady did what Tom Brady always does.
14.
He drove them 80 yards and hit Randy Moss with the touchdown pass to put them up 14-10 with 2 minutes to go. And you're up against some kid named Eli Manning that nobody sees
the number 1 overall draft pick.
And he goes 75 yards on Bill Belichick's defense to score. You don't need a field goal. You need a touchdown. And Belichick's defense spit the bit and allowed a touchdown?
I'm just trying to figure out how the first player to win the MVP unanimously could only get 14 points. But we're not going to talk about that. We'll talk about that
enough?
No. It clearly wasn't.
Well, guess who got overrated in that game? Belichick did, because he couldn't stop Eli from 75 yards away to keep him out of the end zone.
I think in the Man in the Arena, I think they're talking about that game tonight. You should pay attention to that. You should listen, watch that story.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought Coach Belichick did an outstanding job of preparing his team, and he does a great job of that, of preparing his team for no matter what. That's why he wets the football and they win and all this stuff going. More times than not, they're practicing outside as opposed to inside, because you never know, especially Buffalo. There's something about Buffalo, and I know a lot of people, fans, haven't gone to Buffalo. I've played in Buffalo on several occasions. And
I have covered games on many occasions in Buffalo.
And I've never been able to skip. I've never been there and got idea. It's always raining, snowing, or very windy. Whether it's September, October, November, December, I'm like, well, damn, does the sun ever shine in Buffalo? Because I can't tell.
You're too close to that lake, and the wind is going to blow off the lake.
Yes, and it's cold, it's damp, it's raining. And so for them to do that, Skip, you got to go back. I can't, like I said, I've run the ball. I've been in the situation, Skip, 49 times. We've run the ball 49 times against Jacksonville. Actually, we ran it 46 times against Buffalo in 97. And, Skip, it's demoralizing. It's demoralizing to me because I'm saying if y'all stop them, we'll throw it. But if y'all don't stop TD, y'all keep letting them get 12, 8, 7. Why would we ever throw it if you can't stop that? Coach Belichick said, we getting first down after first down after first down. Why would I want to throw it?
Although you didn't get that many first downs, because Buffalo had 16 to your 11.